everyone. So we are back with a session on conflict management. A happy workplace is a place where the conflicts do occur, but they are resolved immediately. They do not take a long time to resolve those conflicts because a good working atmosphere or healthy working environment is one which has minimum number of conflicts arising at workplace. So even if conflict happens, that is the normal thing which is going to happen when there are two people or more than two people. Conflict is something which is going to be there. So when conflicts are there, it is very important to resolve the conflicts immediately so that it does not affect the working atmosphere, the healthy environment of the organization. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about the conflict resolution skills. Now, when we are talking about the conflict resolution skills, these means the skills which you can use to resolve the conflict between the employees, or maybe you as a leader, as a manager, or as a external person just comes into the picture to solve the conflict between two individuals. So for solving the conflict, definitely we require certain type of skills, and in today's session we will be discussing about those skills. So the first skill which is required to solve the conflict is active listening. Most of the time, the conflict happen due to this only. People do not have the listening skills. I'm not talking about after the conflict. I'm not talking about active listening as a part, as a skill which is required to solve the conflict. I'm talking about when the employees are having a very friendly relation, they are having a very good bond, but just because of lack of listening skills, people enter into conflict. Many times the reason for conflict is miscommunication, poor listening skills. These two are the most important reasons of conflict at workplace. So when you want to resolve the conflict, if you want to avoid the conflict, for that also active listening is very important. And if the conflict have arise, to resolve the conflict, again, it is very important to practice this active listening step. Now, when we are talking about active listening, this means active listening is a crucial part of conflict resolution. It is the crucial part of conflict resolution because until and unless parties involved in the conflict are not ready to listen to other person, they cannot find the middle part to solve the conflict between them. To solve the conflict between them, it is very important to listen to each other, and that is why we say that active listening is very important to solve the conflict. It is the crucial part of conflict resolution. By actively listening, we can understand the origin of the complaint and what to do about it. Now here, active listening is not just important for the parties involved in the conflict, but along with that, it is also important for the person who act as a conflict resolver among between the people. As a person who is there, who is playing the part of solving the conflict between two individuals, who's playing the part of a person to solve the conflict. For him, it is very important to be an active listener because he has to find the main reason, the source of conflict between those persons. And the source of conflict can only be found when you listen to each and every party involved in the conflict properly. Because by listening to both the parties, then only you can understand the origin of the complaint and understand what to do about it. Because by listening to both the person, you will get the idea that what the person expects or want from other person, and then only you can make them understand and solve the problem, solve the conflict. It also helps in identifying the conflict at very early stage. Yes, active listening can help you to identify the problem at very early stage. Now, how you can identify the problem, how you can identify the conflict at a very early stage by active listening is, being a listener, you are a person who focuses on the body language, who focuses on the words. All of a sudden, being a listener, you'll notice this, these two people used to communicate, used to talk to each other a lot. But now, today, when we are discussing, both of them are firing on each other. And how you got to know this thing? By being an active listener. So by being an active listener, it will help you to identify the conflict at very early stage. Second skill which you need is bias for action. Having a bias for action means assertively seeking out the next step rather than waiting for someone else to do something. Now, you do not focus, you do not wait for someone to take some kind of action. You immediately, as soon as you get to know the problem, you immediately assertively seek out the next step. You just decide what is the next step by which we are going to resolve this conflict. What is the next step we should take to solve the conflict between two individuals? So having a bias of action means assertively, quickly seeking out the next step rather than waiting for someone else to do something. A coworker noticing they may have upset someone else and actively seeking to address that with them as soon as possible. Now here, a person notice that, okay, my actions, my words have made someone upset. So instead of waiting for someone else to call you to make you realize what did you do, how your actions, your words have affected the other person, you immediately address that with them as soon as possible. You yourself realize that thing, that no, I did something wrong and I have to take the necessary measures to solve that conflict. So here you immediately notice that thing, and you yourself, you do not wait for someone else to come and tell you. You yourself take the necessary steps, necessary measures to solve that conflict. Next thing is, a manager could also realize that there is a conflict taking place and step in to resolve the conflict. Now here, one thing is, you are yourself realizing that there is some conflict and you are immediately taking these steps. The another thing is the manager. Your manager, he's a person who is a keen observer of the team. He observes each and every employee in the team, and by his observation skills, if he get to know, he realizes that there's a conflict taking place. He can immediately step in to resolve the conflict. He can quickly jump in so that the conflict does not stretch. The conflict, if they are solved immediately, as soon as they have been addressed, it is very easy to solve them. But if you keep postponing it, if you keep on waiting for the right time, you won't be able to solve the conflict ever. So here, as soon as the manager notices, so there are two things when we are talking about bias for action, there are two things. If the person, a co-worker himself notices that yes, he did something and his actions have upset, have made someone upset, he immediately realizes that thing and he do not wait for any other person to come and tell him what wrong he did. He realizes it himself and he's immediately go and ask for the, and he immediately go and solve the conflict. The second reason, second thing is, if the co-worker, the person does not realize it himself or themselves, then the manager can also realize that there is a conflict taking place and step in to resolve the conflict. Third skill is facilitation. When there is a conflict, you can arrange the environment around you to make resolution easy. A heated environment, let's say two parties who are involved in the conflict, if you are going to have an environment which is a very heated environment, you won't be able to solve the conflict. So you have to arrange the environment you have to arrange the environment which is suitable for resolving the conflict easily. So providing time and the space for discussion can facilitate a speedy end to the conflict. You know, time, space, all these things are very important when you want to solve the conflict. A wrong timing, a wrong space decided to solve the problem can never give you the best results, can never help you to solve the conflict. So whenever you see that yes, you have to solve the conflict, make sure you are sitting, you're arranging a place which is the right place, and along with that it is a right time. So when we are talking about the right place here means that if two parties are only involved in the conflict, you should go and sit, you should meet outside the organization, or you should go and sit in a meeting room where no one is around you, no one can listen to the conversation which is going on between the two individuals, between the person who are into the conflict. Because if many people are going to be the part of that, it is unnecessary going to increase the conflict only. So make sure you find the proper place, and along with that, proper timing to solve the conflict, to speedily solve the conflict among the individual. For example, a manager who oversees two different groups might bring those groups together in a comfortable conference room to address point of disagreement on a joint project. Now, manager here is saying, if a manager sees the two groups who are working on the same project are having a conflict, conflict is arising between those two groups. So instead of discussing that in the open area, or in between other groups or other employees, he can ask both the groups to come to the conference room, a comfortable conference room. He can make them settle there. He can make them relax, and then ask them to address the point of disagreement on the joint project which they are doing. So this is the best way to solve the conflicts amongst the individual. The fourth thing is meditation. Meditation is when a natural third party is involved in resolving the neutral third parties involved in resolving the conflict. Many times it happened that though the manager, the party involved in the conflict, try their best to resolve the conflict, but still they are unable to resolve the conflict. You do not find any conclusion, the conflict is increasing. So meditation is when a neutral third party, neutral party means, you know he is completely unaware about the situation. He is not neither in favor of party X nor in favor of party Y. He is a neutral person. So that neutral person, that is the third party, is involved in the resolution of the conflict. Now when he is involved, the mediator can be trained professional, someone from outside group, or a person outside the conflict who can provide an objective perspective. Now here, when we are talking about the mediator, he can be anyone. He can be a trained professional. He can be a person who is expert in solving the conflicts among the individual. He can be a trained professional. He can be someone from outside group, like he can be a person from HR, from finance, from administrative, who is having those conflict resolution skills. And or he can be a person outside the conflict. He can be any random person outside the conflict who can provide an objective perspective, who can help to solve the conflicts amongst the between the individual or the group. Now, a successful mediator has the ability to summarize what they are hearing and observing to demonstrate progress and agreement. So basically, they focus on demonstrating the progress and agreement between the individuals so that the conflict can be solved right there among the individual, and it does not stretch for a longer duration, because if the conflict start arising in the organization and it is left unresolved, it is ultimately going to affect the working atmosphere, the working culture of the organization, because sooner or later it is going to divide the organization into groups. You'll be finding groups within the organization. So it is very important to resolve the conflict. If you are unable to do it internally, you can take the help of the professional, you can take the help of the outside group, or you can take the help of any person who is outside the conflict, who is not the part of the conflict. So what he do, these mediators, they just summarize what they are hearing. They listen to both the parties, they give equal opportunity to both the parties to present their views. So once both the parties have presented their views, they ask them, they listen to them, and finally, on basis of what they have heard, what the parties have told, and what they have observed, they demonstrate the progress, and they try to settle the things by making them agree on the mutual agreement between the parties. The next thing is problem solving. Now, what do you mean by problem solving? Problem solving simply means that you just focus on solving the problem between the parties involved in the conflict. It is a skill which helps you determine the source of the problem and find an effective solution. Now, by this problem solving skills, you just focus on finding the source of the problem, like why this problem has arise, from where the problem started. So you just try to find out that source, that the first initial point from where the problem started, from where the problem emerged. And then once you know the problem, you just try to find the effective and the best solution to solve the problem. Until and unless you are not going to determine the problem, you're not going to find out the reason for the problem, you cannot find the effective solution, right? let's say until and unless I'm just trying to write the assignment, but I'm just stuck somewhere. I have the paper open and I have my file open in front of me. I'm ready with my pen pencil, but I'm not started writing anything. Can anyone come and help me out with this? No, until and unless. Here my problem is I do not know the topic of the assignment. I know some assignment is to be done. I know the subject of the assignment, that for the subject I have to submit the assignment. I know the dates, that okay, on this date I have to submit the assignment, but I do not know which topic. So my problem is the topic. Until and unless I'm not going to tell the people about my problem, that I know I have to do the assignment, but I do not know the topic. Until and unless I'm not going to share the problem with other person, the person cannot come up with the effective solution. If I'll share my problem with my parent, with my friend, let's say with my friend, I'm sharing that I do not know on which topic I have to make the assignment. He or she will advise me, okay, then why don't you ask the faculty, your subject faculty? Why don't you ask your classmates? Why don't you check your notice board? Why don't you check your mails? Maybe you might have got some details related to the subject, related to the topic. So how I got those effective solutions? When I have shared the problem. Right. So here, problem solving skills help the people to determine first the source of the problem, from where the problem was generated, and then once you find out the source of the problem, then you try to find out the effective solution for that problem. So here problem solving just focuses on finding the source of the problem and then finding the best effective solution to that problem. A manager might use their problem solving skills to identify areas of compromise between two team members who strongly disagree. So what the members can do, they can use their problem solving skills to identify the areas of compromise. So here basically what they're doing, they just want to find the areas of compromise between two team members, like what can be the best way where both of the parties will agree to compromise with each other. So they just try to find out those areas. Now the last conflict resolution skill is the responsibility. Now what do you mean by the word responsibility? Here, the responsibility means the ability to hold people responsible for their action is important in conflict resolution. It is very important that you hold the people responsible for their action. You have to make them realize that, and make them understand to take the responsibility and accountability for the action which they have done. Until and unless people in the conflict are not ready to take the responsibility and accountability of the action of their work, no solution can be found out. Even if you're trying to find any kind of solution, the question will be, when there is nothing wrong, when we didn't do anything wrong, then why we are supposed to find out a solution? So to find out the solution to the problem, it is very important that people take the responsibility and accountability of their own action, and then only you can you can just resolve the conflict. For example, when an agreement is reached, an HR representative may need to check in few days later to make sure everyone's still on the same page. Now, first you have to take the responsibility of the action, and second, when you have been got some suggestions or you have been agreed upon something, then you need to ensure that you take the responsibility of fulfilling the action which you have decided. You do not just decide the action and forget about that thing. So here, let's say, for example, when an agreement has been reached amongst between the two parties, now here the HR representative may need to check in a few days or on regular interval to ensure that everyone is still on the same page, that everyone is following the agreement, the rules, and the things which was mutually been agreed when they were trying to resolve the conflict. So once the things have been resolved, once the effective solution is being decided, it is very important to ensure that people follow that thing honestly and properly. So with this, we have completed the conflict resolution skills which are required to resolve the conflict among the individual. Now, after conflict resolution skills, we are going to discuss about the conflict resolution, the type of conflict resolution skills. What are the different types of conflict resolution skills? Now, the types of conflict resolution skill. The first type of conflict resolution skill is assertiveness. When we talk about assertiveness, it means a supervisor takes the initiative to convey a meeting between two employees who have engaged in public dispute. You know, many times it happens that people do not agree themselves, solve the conflict between them. Right. It happens that many times people do not agree that we want to solve the conflict, and along with that, they also do not agree that there's some conflict is happening. So here, what the supervisor do? He takes the initiative to convey a meeting. No, he takes his own initiative. No person has reached to that to the supervisor. He himself takes the initiative Then he himself take the initiative and he conveys the meeting. He tells both the employees who are into the conflict, who are into the public dispute, who are engaged into public dispute, that we are going to have the meeting. So the supervisor takes that initiative and he conveys the meeting between the two employees who are engaged into the public dispute. An employee might seek out a person with whom they are having conflict to suggest working together to find the ways to coexist more peacefully. Now here, what the employee is doing, he's just seeking out to the person with whom they are having the conflict, right? He just approached that person to whom they have the conflict to suggest them to work together and to find the ways to solve the conflict peacefully. You know, basically a supervisor has just entered into the conflict. He just took the initiative to solve the conflict because he want the things to settle down peacefully. He do not want the conflict to increase and create more problems. So for that reason, he approached that person who are into the conflict, who are engaged into the conflict, and he asked them to work together to find out the best alternatives to solve the conflict mutually. Now for this thing, for assertiveness, for solving the conflict using this approach, it is very important that the supervisor should have the balanced approach. No, he should have the balanced approach which he is going to use to solve, to get the problem solved within the parties. He should know how to delegate. He should be very fair. He should work on the fact base. You know, he should not be flown away with the emotions. He should just focus on the facts which are being shown by both the parties. So he should just focus himself on the fact based. He should be very fair for the parties. He should not be a person who is being biased with the parties. You know, being assertiveness, being a supervisor to deal with the problem to solve the conflict, when he wants to get the problem solved, it is very important for him to be unbiased, to be very fair, firm, and to show his leadership skills. Along with leadership skill, he should also use his negotiating and voice opinion, where he is sharing his opinion with the people that, okay, in my opinion, the problem which you have raised is very small. You can come up with this solution where both of them will be benefited. So he can come up with his own opinion. He can voice down his own opinion. He can use his problem solving skills where he just identify the problem and just come up with the possible solutions. And along with that, he should be the stage to manage the stress also. Now, the second skill is interviewing and active listening. This means a human resource HR representative have to ask questions to understand the reason of the conflict. Now, interviewing is not the normal interview which happens in the organization. Now, interviewing, when we are talking about the interviewing, here interviewing means that you as a human resource person, you are just trying to ask the questions to understand what is the reason of the conflict, why the conflict has arise between the individual, why there is conflict among the individual. So you as an HR, until and unless you do not understand the matter of the conflict, you do not understand the reason of the conflict, you cannot solve the conflict. So being the HR representative, the first task which you have to do is you have to actively listen to the problem, the reason, and you have to understand the reason for the conflict among the individual. Now here, listening doesn't mean listening to one party only. No, you need to understand the point of view of both the parties who are engaged into the conflict, that okay, this is the reason why the conflict has happened. So listen carefully to determine the nature of the conflict between the supervisor and the subordinate. Let's say there is a conflict between the supervisor and the subordinate. So here you need to ensure that you listen to the nature of the conflict. You listen to the reason of the conflict very carefully. Now, being a HR representative, when you're trying to solve the conflict between two individuals, let's say between the subordinate and the manager, you need to have certain skills. Now, what skills you need to have? You need to have the attentiveness of listening to the point of view of both the individual properly. That attentiveness is very important. Along with attentiveness, you need to show your empathy and your listening and negotiating skills also. Now, not just the listening skills, not just listening to what their words are speaking, along with that, it is very important that you also try to understand the things which they are conveying using their non-verbal communication. Many times, people might say something, but their body language may not support their words. So here, being a HR representative, being the person to solve the problem, it is very important that you not only focus on the words which they are speaking, but you also focus on their non-verbal signs which they are showing when they are speaking, so that you can get the right context of the meaning. Now, along with the non-verbal communication, you also have to be very professional, and you should be expert in building the relationship among the individual. Now, here, being an HR representative, when you are entering into the conflict resolution, you have to make sure that you are focusing on building the relationship among the individual. Your only focus is not to solve the conflict, but along with that, your focus is also on building the relationship, a good relationship among both the individual. So make sure you're showing the you are working on building the relationship, and along with that you have to make sure that both the parties are showing respect towards each other. It is very important to show respect towards each other. So these are some of the qualities which you need to practice when you are using this interviewing and active listening as a way of solving the conflict or resolving the conflict. The third is empathy. A mediator might encourage empathy by asking employees in the conflict to each describe how the other might be feeling and thinking. Now here he is showing the empathy. You know, the parties involved in the conflict might have spoken something bad for each other, right? There are chances that they might have spoken something bad for each other. So here, what he simply focused on making them realize that by their words, how the other person might be feeling. Now, this way, what will happen? Both the parties will know that whether we have spoken the right words or not. So, you know, they just focus on making them self-realize about what bad they have spoken to other person, how rudely they have presented themselves, whether it was good or not. So it mainly focus on the self-realization about the thing. So how the situation might look to the other parties. Now here they are just focusing on how the situation is going to look to the other party when they are just into the conflicting situation. So here, by the use of empathy, you are again trying to resolve the conflict. And for using the empathy, what you have to do, you have to focus on asking the questions. You have to focus on building the trust among the parties, giving them the feedback that, okay, you shouldn't have told this thing, you shouldn't have spoken this thing, and you should have presented in this way instead of showing the I attitude. You should have used the instead of saying the you attitude, you should have used the I attitude. So how you are going to tell all those things? By giving them the proper feedback. Along with that, you also have to identify the non-verbal clues and you have to recognize the differences which are there between both the individuals so that you can help them to solve the conflict. Now, along with recognizing the difference, you also have to understand the different viewpoints of both the individual. Now, until and unless you're not going to understand the viewpoint of both the individual, you cannot make them realize that what the other person might be thinking, how badly you have hurted the other person, how the other person point of view was also right. Until and unless you are not clear in your mind with the viewpoint of both the people, you cannot make other person understand the same thing. So you need to understand the difference in viewpoints. You need to show your self-control. You need to welcome the opinions of both the parties, and along with that you have to practice patience. Now there are few more skills which we are going to discuss in the next session of conflict management, as we have come to the end of today's session. So next session we'll be discussing about felicitation, mediation, creative problem solving, and there are some other conflicting skills which you need to practice to solve the conflict. So all those skills also we are going to discuss in the next session of conflict management. So with this, we have come to the end of today's session. Bye bye, take care, have a wonderful day. Bye bye.